Hello, hello. Are you guys on or what? Hello, hello. Hello, hello, people. Can you guys hear me, see me? Well, actually, you won't be able to see me. You should only be able to see my screen, but do you guys have a visual here on what's going on? You can see this little slide. This is how to find a business coach mentor. All right, so we have a lot of people that can obviously hear me. A lot of people that can see me, well, see the screen at least. That's all that matters. Okay, so as long as you guys can hear me and see the slide, we're just going to give everybody a few minutes. Sorry, as most of you know, that I am retarded when it comes to technology, so I rely on an Asian tech support one-man team called Alan to make this work. So that's why we had a little bit of difficulty. Sometimes tech support is mobile and it's hard to find him or pin him down. So we're going to have to put a little indicator on him to know where he is at any given time. So as long as you guys can hear me and see me, we're just going to give everybody an extra minute. I see a lot of names I know from the Academy, which is great. This was particularly for Academy members, so this is not open to the public. This is only open to Academy members, as you're going to be getting not only a lot of information on how to find a business coach and mentor, but really, you're going to be getting a lot of information about the new Secret Entourage Black program as well. So if you've been looking for getting mentorship and getting closer attention from a lot of people, but unfortunately have always been faced with this idea that, you have to pay a lot of money to get mentorship, or have looked at particular coaches, but it was very expensive, then you're going to learn a lot, I think, on this webinar tonight that hopefully will help you not only find a better coach faster, but also help you see if you're ready to really get to that next level with the Secret Entourage Black program. So hopefully most people are on now. We're just to be respectful of everybody, I'm not going to make people who are on time wait. So this is a very quick webinar on how to find a business coach mentor and make the most out of the relationship between you and your mentor. And so again, this is a Secret Entourage Academy exclusive webinar, and it is going to be me helping you try to figure out how mentorship works. You're not going to be able to see me. It's not about my webcam. It's about as long as you can see the slide and as long as you can hear me, then that's all that matters. If you're having difficulties, then go ahead and refresh your browser, exit, and come back, whatever way you want to look at it. This will be recorded, so it will be shared afterwards with everybody, regardless that you missed it, have to leave halfway, doesn't matter. But when I talk about the Secret Entourage Black program, you may want to stick around to actually understand, if the program is or isn't for you, because this is the launch of it, and it's going to be super, super limited because there's only so many people that can get help at any given time. So again, this is going to be how to find a business coach mentor and how to make the most out of a relationship. Most of you do know me. For those of you that don't by now, you should, I was going to say jump off a bridge and figure something else out. But if you're in Secret Entourage Academy and you don't know me or don't recognize my voice, then you have issues because you haven't been using the Academy enough. However, those of you know that I've launched the Secret Entourage Academy with the sole purpose of trying to create a baseline of online education for people who struggle with business and entrepreneurship, but more importantly, to help everybody reach other individuals who have had a lot of success in various industries. And so if you're part of Secret Entourage and the Academy, then you already know that. You've already seen all the incredible videos we have, the community of incredible people, and my job at Secret Entourage is to help create more educational content for all of you guys, as well as identify and work with other industry experts in their fields to help bring you more exclusive content and programs, again, to help you on your journey to the very top. Now, most of you that know me from other things know of my background, but I own a series of companies, and the money I make, the cars I have, the stuff you see on social media does not come from Secret Entourage or the success of Secret Entourage in any specific way. I have a company that is called VIP Motoring and Secret Consulting, as well as Quick Credit Boost. Those organizations make me the most money. And those are really the money makers of kind of that allowed me to have the freedom lifestyle that I want. On the other hand, Third Circle Theory, Exotic Car Hacks, Watch Conspiracy, and of course, Secret Entourage are different platforms there to fill my purpose and my ultimately my calling as a teacher. That's what I've always wanted to do, and these platforms help me drive my teaching to people. And so for those of you that don't know about my past, I've served as a VP for a Fortune 500 company, and I had over 800 people working under my leadership by the age of 23. I've built 2 offline businesses, the ones we just talked about, with one of them with revenues in excess of 40 million, that was VIP Motoring. I still own that business, and I'm the CEO that runs that business. I've been in the internet marketing industry, meaning online e-learning, and I don't still to this day don't understand how to even make a phone function or program a phone. But somehow we've been in the space, and now just based on the business acumen, I've been able to now get over 2 million visitors a month, over 1 million social followers, and have reached revenues over 3 million. Now, out of all my books, I had to write 9 to figure out what didn't work, to write the 10th one. Third Circle is a book that I think many of you know, and that is ultimately the guiding principle of everything I teach. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, some of the people that have directly benefited from my coaching, Kieran is a person that we've used and highlighted a lot as Secret Entourage, who's built carbon trim solutions. They do iPhone cases primarily, and currently do other carbon fiber accessories. I've coached him to getting to 40,000 in revenue per month by his 2nd year. This guy, which everybody knows, I mean, he's funny. He's Andres. He's a funny guy. He's sometimes on our Snapchat and stuff. But, you know, he started his entrepreneur clothing company, and while I wasn't necessarily a fan of it, you know, he's been able to actually not only survive, which most clothing companies die in the first 12 months, but also has been able to gross, you know, over 150K annually. And as a result of it, also be carried by and worn by a lot of celebrities. So, you know, a lot of back and forth with Andres, but I think it's on the right path onwards. And finally, Nick, just someone that he's very quiet in the academy, but yet as a result of direct coaching and working together, you know, he's been able to grow his Kickstarter twice what his original goal was. And as a result of it, also has now founded a very lucrative, but also very awesome company that allows you to get aerial footage of your GoPro without needing a drone. Now, all of these people, all of these things that have happened as a result of people just coming to me and really creating a good connection and enabling me to be their mentor as a result of either a collaboration or just good conversation, local or on the internet, etc. And so, you know, there is a reason why these people were able to get mentorship from me free of charge. Like, I did not charge them to be in a mentorship program. They did not come to me and say, hey, I'm going to pay you a few $1,000 to join your mentorship program. They ultimately came to me and said all the right things and did all the right things that led them to being able to get mentored by me free of charge. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people always ask, well, why them and not me? And so tonight we're going to cover exactly what a mentor is, how a mentor can help you, how to actually find one, like how these people actually found me, and then how to actually make your, you know, mentorship relationship really work and how to make the most out of it. So these are all the things we're going to cover tonight. For those of you that are looking for mentors, that are looking for support, and that want to be one of these 3 examples, regardless of it's with me or not, there's a lot of good information in this webinar that should hopefully help you. These webinars are also really a core focus of trying to educate people in the academy, so I try to keep them short to just about 30 minutes. Now, if you have questions, you have a little chat box in your corner of your screen. You guys have already been talking in it. Now you're more than welcome to go ahead and put in any question. And when you do so, at the end, I will be able to go back and answer them. So you're welcome to put whatever questions you want, and I will answer them for you. And again, remember, at the end, we're going to unveil the Secret Entourage Black program, which may perhaps be something that is relevant to something you may need. So you're going to find out what it is, how it works, right at the end of this very short and sweet webinar. Now, what is a mentor? That's a question that a lot of times people don't really define for themselves. Everybody wants a mentor. Most people don't even know what one is. So, you know, there's a difference between mentors, coaches, and consultants. And I want you to understand that, because a lot of times people don't really know what they need. So a mentor is an experienced specialist in a particular field who offers their own life experiences, advice, and support to others. Meaning mentorship in general can be very passive. It doesn't have to be someone telling you specifically what to do. It's more about them sharing kind of what they've gone through and you ultimately saying, oh, I see what happened there, so perhaps I don't have to make the same mistakes. Coaches, on the other hand, are they support individuals in clarifying, identifying, and achieving immediate and future goals for future growth. So, their job is to ultimately, like you have a goal, their job is to coach you to your goal. So they're not there to just tell you like what they've done in their day and you find some kind of relatability to that. They're there to directly coach you and support you in actually getting to the place you want to get to. And then consultants are specialists in a particular field who help others in a related profession and organization to meet a need or achieve a goal. So in other words, when you hire a consultant and you're hiring an expert in a specific field to kind of guide the journey, but you already have usually processes in place and you just need that kind of that feedback from someone who's already been there, who is an expert in something you do not necessarily understand. So let's kind of break this down in a more understandable way. A mentor is someone you may meet that may just meet you for coffee and have a conversation with you. It could be someone that just meets sporadically, etc. A coach, on the other hand, is someone that you're going to have a more set schedule with, and that is going to offer you perhaps not only advice, but also things you need to be doing and giving you homework. And a consultant ultimately is an expert who perhaps will come in and even create a model for your business or something specific that you can do yourself and kind of spearhead that growth for you. So those are three very different things, and I wanted you to understand the difference between the two. So it's important to understand that when we talk about mentorship, that's different from a coach and a consultant. Now, some mentors can obviously be coaches and consultants too, but not all are. So there's 4 types of mentor that you can really look at. The first one is the teacher, someone who teaches you; the parent, someone that is related to you; your boss, someone that is a direct report for you; and then, of course, someone that perhaps is much older and much wiser, who's been around longer, and what I call the wise old man. So there's 4 types of core mentorship. Some of these collaborate, meaning a teacher can also be a boss, a parent can also be a teacher, and of course, if your parents are old, they can also be wise old people. So it's all specifically, it's not necessarily one or the other, but each mentor typically falls into one of these more so than the other, meaning someone's usually a teacher before they're a boss, or they're a boss before a teacher, even if they're both. Now, what is the teacher? The teacher is someone who literally takes the time to instruct you on the ins and outs of your industry. In many cases, but not all, this person is an actual teacher or professor, and is probably the most useful type of mentor for those who are just starting out on their own career path. Meaning, typically and this is just to be clear here, when you say it's an actual teacher or professor, the idea of a teacher is much more than just someone who's in a university. But in the teachers, typically what we're referring to here in the type of mentorship is those who are referred to as teachers in their professions or in their title are typically the ones we're referring to here, because obviously all mentors are teachers. So when you look at that, look at it this way: the parent, obviously you know who your dad or mom is, or someone else that you look up as a respectful parental figure, even if it's not by blood, can be considered a parent. The boss is obviously the person that's actually your supervisor or in charge of directly giving you tasks for the day. And then, you'll often find your boss inviting you to meetings or to help you with projects you might not have expected to get into when you first started, and eventually you may find yourself doing the job. So, through the boss stage, this is an important one, because a lot of people, when they find a profession, they typically go for the company. They don't really pay attention to who they're going to be working for, which is a big deal. The 4th one is the wise old man, obviously someone that has more life experience. I have a lot of friends that are probably twice my age, and they're like 70, 80 years old with a lot of good information from how things were back in the day. But a lot of that experience is incredible to just listen to and understand, even if it's not directly telling you specifically like, hey, go do this, and internet marketing is good in this way. It's just good sometimes to have perspective. And sometimes people that have been around and have seen more of the world or longer can typically have a wider range of perspective because they've seen more things happen. Someone would say, well, what the hell can an old man teach you in a new economy? Well, I tell you what, old people have gone through a lot more recessions than we have, right, as young people. So typically, if they tell you about how things were in recession before, and now you're going through a recession now, you may say, hey, you know what? Actually, what we're going through isn't that bad because you have more perspective. So the point, again, is to really look at this idea of perspective. And I think that's one thing that's super, super important. Now, how can a mentor actually help you specifically? Like, what should you expect out of a mentor? You get the opportunity of obviously gaining direct experience without actually having to go through your years of experience. A mentor can see what you may not be able to see, usually perspective based on experience. And of course, there's the accountability part that a lot of people need mentors because they like someone keeping them on their toes, especially if you're self-employed. It's very helpful. Now, when you look at mentorship, you get great recommendations easily, meaning by true conversation, someone is offering their feedback and suggestions. You get a lot of inspirations often, especially if your mentor is in a place exactly where you want to be from a lifestyle standpoint. And we're not talking about just cars and homes and all that stuff. We're talking about perhaps freedom. I had someone recently say, it was a really close friend of mine, came over to my house, hanged out with me for a weekend. And he goes, I'm sure plenty of people envy your life and they envy your cars and this and that. He goes, but I'm jealous as hell. And he goes, I'm not even jealous at all about any of the shit you have. I'm jealous about the freedom you have. And so, that was for him, the inspiration was more on the freedom than it was on the cars and all that stuff. But, for different people, it's different things, right? If you're a young guy and you aspire to have a car and you see someone who's had a high level of success in a similar field as yours and has all the things you want, it's obviously a good reminder of the inspiration you need. And of course, then, you have the validation aspect of mentorship, which is, mentor boosting your energy to do more because they're validating you're on the right track. And sometimes when you start working and you get into the zone and you're doing a lot of stuff over the next few weeks and you're like, man, I'm doing all this work. I'm not even sure if this is the right work to be doing. But when you have a mentor that kind of reminds you, you're like, okay, well, it is on the right path. So maybe I should keep kind of the momentum and keep my energy up. So how do you actually find a mentor? This is a critical part because this is how some of these people found me. So I'm going to kind of walk you through that as a whole. Now, there's 4 key categories to finding a mentor. The first one and most important one for me is the idea of being relatable. Most people go up to people who've had a higher level of success than them and ask them, they say, listen, like, I need a mentor. Will you mentor me in business? Not knowing anything about their mentor and really not understanding anything about any reason why someone should do that. Why should someone that doesn't know you or know anything about you randomly all of a sudden decide that, yeah, you know what? I do want to spend a lot of time with you and I do want to spend all my time teaching you and kind of helping you, even though I have no idea who you are, what you're going to do, how you're doing it. And all I have is yet one more random person coming up to me and saying, I see your cars, I see your lifestyle, I want that too, teach me. Which is completely useless and irrelevant, which is why most people that send me messages like that don't even get an answer and they get a delete and a ban. So again, that's the same as asking someone for a 100K loan without explaining what your business is or why you need it. It's just bad business. So typically, what I tell people is really simple. Being relatable is key. Find common ground, find common friendship with a mentor before you look to ask for anything. Meaning, if you're a car guy, if maybe you have a nice car, it doesn't matter if you're, in the same party as Ferraris and everything. But let's say you go to a car get together and you get to meet people. You're obviously going to meet people with nicer cars than you. You're going to meet people with, more money than you. But at least you're going to meet people with a common passion, which is cars. And so that in itself is an opportunity to create friendship. It's common values, it's common friendship. And through that, some people will just naturally be people you aspire to be like, I used to go to car shows when I was younger and I had my car and it wasn't as expensive as some of the other cars. But I admired people who had nicer cars than me and who had a lot of success in their life and were able to afford these cars. And my thing was never coming from a place of envy, but rather a place of curiosity. using this idea that we both like cars to create common ground for good conversation. Because ultimately you have to understand that you don't find the mentors, they find you. Meaning those when you approach and you randomly ask for mentorship, like for free, just doesn't work. When you create good commonality with a mentor, you're ultimately opening your opportunity of relationship. When a relationship evolves as a result of it, the mentor decides to ultimately become a teacher because he realizes that you're in need of it. And in some cases, sometimes mentors are not good teachers and don't take that place because they're not comfortable teaching. So when you approach random people and say, teach me, and you don't really understand the context of things, then that's why you get declined. But when you allow relatability to lead the way and ultimately find common ground and friendship, eventually mentors find you and realize that you are in need of help. And they do so because they pay attention to your willpower. They see that you're hungry. They see that you're making the right moves. They see that you're working, and perhaps they throw in their 2 cents. There's a lot of indicators. There's a lot of hints that they throw out about business to see if you catch on, to see if you ask further questions, to see if you're paying attention to what they're saying. And as a result of it, end up ultimately creating a better relationship, understanding that there's some mentor-mentee component to it. And so being at the right place at the right time is key because it shows that you're ready to learn. And so when people offer advice, are you taking it and using it, and then you're coming back for more ready to take on what's happening around you. So we kind of talked about, willpower is easy to recognize, is many ultimately lack to take the next step. And most of your mentors are likely to gravitate towards people with confidence rather than people who just have skills and don't know what to do. Because when you have willpower, you're a doer. You're not a dreamer, meaning you're not someone who just has big ideas. You're someone who's already doing something and perhaps is excited to talk about it. As a result of that, engages in a mentor-mentee relationship. And then again, like we talked about, you don't find the mentors, they end up finding you. And it's in most cases, remember that the best mentorships do not start from just people coming up to you and saying, hey, I love your lifestyle. Can you teach me how to do that? Even if you love someone's lifestyle, if your industry isn't related, if you're not related to what they're doing or don't understand what they're doing, how can they teach you something they don't know? So by taking interest in their skills and talents rather than in the money they've accumulated, you have a much better chance of having them find you and choose that you're worth investing time into to have different discussions, regardless if it's over coffee, lunch, or simply just because. And again, don't just keep pushing for tell me the secret, etc. Start focusing on the idea that as they give you advice in passing, use and apply that advice. It shows that you're paying attention to what's being said. And again, remember that not every mentor, especially when we talk about how to be at the right place at the right time, any mentor is not the right mentor. So you want the mentor that is relatable to you in an industry that makes sense. And I'm going to share with you specifically how I met some of these other people, just so you understand. So, and then being relatable, again, like I said, is probably the most important step, and something that we're going to talk about in just a moment. So real quick on before we move to this section here with making a mentorship, those 3 people I mentioned earlier and how they found me. Andres ended up reading my book. He was a big fan of my work. He came up to meet me in a Starbucks in Delray. He drove an hour and a half to get there. He had a conversation with me about my book, not about what he needed from me, about my book. He asked all the right questions, meaning he paid attention to my work. As a result of my work and having impacted him and him asking the right questions, I identified that while he was still lost, it was worth having a conversation, so I accepted to have coffee with him. He went away because I gave him some advice regarding the business idea he has. It was terrible. He went away. And 2 months later, he reached back out to me and said, I've given a lot of thought about what you said. I have a different idea. I was wondering if you'd have coffee with me again so we can have a future conversation about it. I agreed to do it because obviously he had decided to take my advice that I originally gave him and go back and do some due diligence. I didn't want to leave him hanging. He came back, we had a conversation, he started an entrepreneur, and as a result of it, he kept in touch. And every time we talk, he asks the right question about, marketing, about production, and so on and so forth. So it makes sense. Huron, on the other hand, came up to me, and again, he was not necessarily a fan of my work at the time because he was more focused on having the right questions. he was participating fully in Secret Entourage Academy, meaning he was already a member and he was learning and he was participating in the Facebook group, being active, helping others. So when he asked me for help, well, as he was helping others, it only made sense that the one that founded the platform helps him. So, it just made sense to listen to what he had to say, answer his questions, and as a result of it, provide my own feedback that led him to being more successful doing what he does. And then finally, Nick, on the other hand, came up to me and said, listen, this is the main thing a lot of people come up to me with. They say, hey, I'm going to work for you for free in exchange for mentorship. I get that a lot. And I often decline a 99.9% of those requests. But for Nick, it was different. He didn't come to me saying, hey, I'm ready to work for you for free in exchange for coaching. He said, listen, I don't know what I want to do yet. I know that it has to do with business or growing a business. But as of right now, I know that I'm a really talented designer. I would like to work for you doing design work. And in exchange for my work, when I have a question or I need something in business, I would like to be able to have a counselor, an advisor, or someone like a mentor that can help me, guide me through these decisions. So what ended up happening for Nick is that he ended up getting a job with me because he was a very talented designer and he identified himself as such. So he knew his skill and talent and he offered me that skill and talent in exchange for a job. At first, he wanted to work for free. I didn't allow him to because his talent was too high. And so I did offer him a job that paid him while he was learning. And as a result of that learning, he had questions. We engaged in future conversation. And he only asked for my help whenever he was really stuck, meaning he still did the baseline work. That's why the relationship happened. And that's why we helped him reach a higher level on his Kickstarter campaign by introducing him to a lot of people and helping coach him through that process. Now, how to make the most out of the relationship you have with an actual mentor. This is really important because most people expect their mentors to come out to them and tell them exactly what to do. Like for a mentor to say, hey, go over here and invest in this company. Go over here and talk to that guy about starting a business. Like that's not how mentorship works. Mentorship is all around you. Most of you are such that every one of you is in the academy. So you have mentors already because you are able to listen and pay attention to the information provided in the video library. And as a result, get mentored into an industry, even if it's not your industry, just to learn and understand. Mentorship is all around us. And mentorship does not have to be two-sided, meaning it is not about you asking questions and getting answers. Sometimes it is just about you listening. And so a lot of times there's some rules on how to make a good mentorship relationship happen, despite the fact that it's either passive in the listening standpoint or that it's active, meaning there's two people having a conversation and ultimately you're able to ask questions. The first thing that's important to get out of your head more than anything else is abandoning the ego itself. You can't go into a mentorship knowing what it is that you have to do. Obviously, the person you're choosing as a mentor that has chosen you, that you've accepted as a mentor that has chosen you, obviously is more experienced than you. That's why you've chosen them. So pay attention to what you're being told. Don't consider their thought process of what they're telling you as either you go all in or you go all out. Either you're into what they're saying or you're not. The point is that they are going to provide you perspective. So abandon the ego that you already know what to do or how to do it. And if so, then you wouldn't be there and you would be in their position mentoring others, not the other way around. So, be polite. Don't forget your manners. And more importantly, allow your mind to stay open to learning, especially unexpected lessons. There's lessons in every single thing you're told, even if their personal life, they're not directly correlated to your business. It's about perspective. And so you have to be open to learning, you have to abandon the ego, and you have to remain respectful of their time and of the information shared. The other piece that's really important is to define what you want in the relationship, meaning define what you want to see happen as a result of the mentorship. Too often do we go into mentorship just expecting life to get better. But what about what part of life to get better? Do you want a mentor to help you shift the way you think? Do you want a mentor to help you shift the way your business works? Do you want them to maybe share information about the sales process? Like all of these things are important because if you don't know what to get, then you don't know what to ask and you don't know how to engage in conversation, which is really, really important. And so it's very important to always understand what you want out of a relationship and to make sure you guide the conversations towards getting what you want out of them. The other piece that usually blows my mind is people always wait till their mentor tells them to do something. Remember, mentors are not coaches. They're not sending you a list of to-dos and you have to accomplish them by Friday midnight, or they're not working with you. Instead, mentors are people who share or give you ultimately perspective. And through that perspective, you need to take action either in your life, in your business, or anything in between. So you don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to actually wait to be allowed to take action. Take action on your own. Always be working. And anytime you gain a new level of perspective, then be even happier and closer to just getting to where you want to go. So we covered all this stuff. And again, this comes down to, we're pretty much wrapping up, that the best way to engage in mentorship is to find, remember, common ground, then engage in great friendship. And as a result of it, those friendships that are with people who have achieved a tremendously higher amount than you have should be focused on if there's a reason for mentorship, meaning, is the person's success relevant to the success I seek? That's the best question to ask. So remember, the fastest way to find mentors is to surround yourself with people who have already achieved a level of success in their own professional and personal life the way you want yours to look. And so that's super important and something to remember as you kind of think of mentorship. And so, the purpose of this training was to just kind of really break down what a mentor is, how a mentor can help you, how to find a mentor, and how to make the most out of your mentorship. So hopefully I've shared some insight about how other people have found me and have piqued my interest, people who paid attention to my work, or people who have utilized the resources at Secret Entourage Academy and have utilized the existing things that are going on, such as the books, the courses, and everything else, and still seek very specific advice because they haven't been able to maybe take action even though they've gone through the material, are more likely to get noticed than people who are just coming in saying, I want to skip the material. PJ, you have a lot of the cars I want. How can I do it and be rich like you? Which doesn't really help and is not going to create a good connection for you to be able to do this. So for those of you that have been really waiting for the Secret Entourage Black program, I want to tell you a little bit about the Secret Entourage Black program, because this is something that has a lot to do with mentorship as a whole, and the fact that coaching and mentorship is quite expensive. So the Secret Entourage Academy has evolved a lot, guys, like a lot. Thanks to all of you and a lot of you that are not on this webinar. We've reached over 30,000 members. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And, because of that, the Facebook group we have has changed tremendously. What do I mean by that? Like, meaning that now you see a lot of people at very different levels posting stuff. You have some people saying, hey, where do I get a business idea? And you get the other guy saying, hey, here's a specific concept here, like that I need help on. And we've seen this and how much better the other group is, which is the Secret Entourage Academy Challenge. Because there's this, when we've done the challenge and we have this private Facebook group for that, that's only temporarily. It's only 6 months out of the year, and it's only on one specific topic, which is winning the challenge. But what we've seen happen when we put people in that particular group is that they all have already started a business or already taken action towards a certain direction in their life. And as a result of it, A, take themselves a lot more seriously, and B, are working on something. So they're not confused as to what to work on. So they're asking each other for help and are becoming a support network for one another. And while the Secret Entourage Academy Challenge is a great Facebook group and a good thing, like I said earlier, it is temporary and just based on the specific challenge itself. And so, a lot of people have come up to me and said, hey, can I be the next Kieran? Can I be the next Andres? Can I be the next Nick to have you help me do what you did for them? And I know many of you actually follow a lot of our work. I know many of you follow the videos and actually listen to the stuff. And so sometimes I feel really bad saying, listen, I don't have time to mentor because I already have so many people that I'm mentoring and I can't do that. And so, we wanted to come up with a way to differentiate people who are more serious about their business in a group from people who are not. And so what I decided to do is I said, okay, how many people can we really help each year, each month, at any given time, with a mix of personal mentorship, group mentorship, and kind of a private area where they can work together. And so we really saw the feedback from the challenge group, Facebook group, and we said, okay, so people like this and it's working. So it shouldn't have to just be a temporary thing. What if we could make it kind of be permanent? What if we could make a private group where people who were serious would be able to help one another, and ultimately have people like me and other people in the academy that are teachers really step into that group and not be bombarded with 600 posts a day, but rather just like the few that are relevant, where the words they speak will be taken seriously. And so we decided to create the Secret Entourage Black program. And the Black membership is going to be something very, very unique. It's not going to be complicated and fancy, meaning we're not going to send you to a different website to do something different. It's not going to be filled with curriculums and stuff to do. And it's not forced teaching. All it is differentiating people that have already done something or are doing something, and putting them together, as well as getting more support from me, because it's a limited group of people. And also because I understand that obviously when I offer coaching packages on my personal website for $1,900 a month, I understand that if you are building a company and starting, perhaps spending $2,000 a month on having somebody you talk to for 1 hour a week is probably not the wisest thing you can spend your money on. And so, but I still thought that, the majority of my work comes from the impact I create on a lot of you guys. And so it only made sense that I come up with a way to lower that cost. Now, I can't mentor 100 people, I can't mentor 100 people a month at the same velocity of 1 hour a week, because then I wouldn't have any time to do anything else. And so, we came up with this program which allows you a lot of different perks. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what these are. The program will have its own private Facebook group, which means that it will have a special Facebook group that I will be part of every single day, not just on a whenever basis, but every single day. I will go in there and do my best to monitor or coach. Many of you who are on this group have also seen that when you post stuff that's relevant and you need help, I reach out to you via DM, and ultimately we connect on the phone or anything else, whatever I can do to help, right, in any way I can. So, this is going to be the group that's dedicated to getting those phone calls when necessary. And then, we're going to have, this says weekly, but really, I think bi-weekly, the same way we have for the challenge, I'm going to do a lot more masterminds where it's Q&A style, and a couple of you can get on at a time, and we can ultimately kill it together, meaning like we can figure out your problems for your business together. And of course, we've been working very hard to design and create a Black membership program, which includes a swag bag, which what that is simply like a lot of SE apparel and things to really showcase that you're part of our network, which is ultimately your network, so that others who perhaps are inspired by your dedication in your business can also join us as well as we get openings. And because obviously the Black program has a small cost associated with it, we thought it would make sense that the Black membership would also offer a much more significant discount on future courses. As you know, we share any revenue at Secret of courses with the owners or the creators of the courses. And so we figured that for the Black membership, we wouldn't have to ultimately share anything with anyone, rather than just have you get a significant discount that pretty much takes care of the author's portion of the course. And then, our goal, I think, more than anything else with this Black program, is to see a lot more success stories like Andres, a lot more success stories like Kieran, like Nick, and like other people in the academy who have made progress and who have done quite well in their business, and as a result of it, have helped inspire others. So the number one goal is obviously to help you grow your business, and we have all of these little tools and everything else set up. So how does it work, or what does it cost, right? Now, the problem is we can only accept 100 people at a time, meaning that's not going to change because I only have so much time. So again, only 100 people, and it will be application-based in every way possible. The way you actually go to the application, you go to secretentourage.com/academy/black. By going to be given this particular option. There's going to be a $199 application fee. That is to know you're serious. If you don't get accepted, you get refunded. No different than the challenge was for those of you that participated. Meaning you put in your application, we take the time to review it. If it's no good and we can't accept you in the program, then we will refund you. If you're part of the program, you cannot, under any circumstance, not have a business idea or not have a business you're already working on. Meaning, we don't want people in there that are dreamers. We want people who are already working in their business. If you are already an owner of a business, doesn't matter that you do $1 million a year, $10 million a year, or $50 a year. If you own a business and are committed, you can fill out an application. Now, filling out an application does not guarantee entry into the program. It simply means someone like myself will review it. I will personally review all applications, but they will go through a filter of 2 other people who have helped me by just kind of weeding out people who just don't meet the criteria to begin with. Just remember that in general, a lot of these mastermind groups are $1,000 a month for other companies, and this is specifically because we want more of you to not bear the cost of mentorship, but rather just ultimately have a support mechanism that can help you get there. And so if you're accepted into the program, and to make sure that you're held accountable to your own words, every month you will be in charge of a $99 retainer, and that is it. Meaning like there's no future cost that is not arising if you're already put into that mode. And then of course the $199 application fee is gone if you're accepted in the program. If you're not, once again, it is refunded. And here's the other thing, being in the program, this is something that I've decided a while back when we were kind of creating this program. You're all adults, meaning if you get into this program and because we're not going to chase people for $99 a month. If you're in the program, you have your billing set up, you're charged $99 a month, and you default on a payment. Good financial literacy and financial ownership is equally important to running a good business. So if you default on your payments and then you're unfortunately not in a position to be part of the program, and you will be kicked out of the program. Like you have to be active in managing your membership, and you have to be active in your responsibility to others and the way you act in the group, because you're getting ultimately what I do for others for $1,900 a month for 10% of that. And so what I'd like to see is people who are responsible, people who take ownership, people who want to grow their business, people who need help, and people who want to be part of a much more niche group that just makes sense. So if you want to go ahead and join the Secret Entourage Academy Black membership by filling out an application and see if you'll qualify, then again, remember it's limited to the first 100 accepted people, not just 100 applications. And you can go again to secretentourage.com/academy/black. And of course, at this point, fill out an application. It will take 2 to 3 business days for me to review applications, at which point you will receive an email telling you if you've been accepted. If I don't like your application or I have questions, I will go ahead and call you and we'll talk about it. Now, also, the way you do your application, the amount of effort you put in your application makes a difference in terms of if you are or are not accepted into the program. So take the program seriously, and the program takes you back seriously, and I take you seriously, which ultimately helps me help you. So that said, does anybody have any questions, or is there anything I can answer that this did not cover? I try to be thorough and answer as much as I could, but obviously I am more than happy to answer any personal question you guys have. So go ahead and put them there. If you don't have any, we'll make it very simple. Someone earlier told me that I should interview Adam Gerard or some shit from Elite Daily. From what I know, not from what you seem to see on social media, the guy's a fucking clown, and we are not interviewing him for Secret Entourage. So let's see. So Josh says, what do you mean how we apply matters? Well, what I mean, Josh, is that when you go to this link, the one on your screen, secretentourage.com/academy/black, there's an application. How much information you put in there, how much effort you put into answering the questions on that application. Tell me a lot about the need that you have to be part of this program or not. So if you go in there and you're like having one-liner answers that don't really explain just to fill out your application, that speaks as to your poor character and your lack of dedication or effort. So there's no need to be part of something that is going to dedicate effort and time to you if you don't dedicate it to yourself. Kendall says, very helpful, thank you. Are there any mentorship programs out there at the moment that might be exploitative? Yeah, there's hundreds of membership programs that are complete bullshit out there. That's why we created Secret Entourage. Let's clarify. There's no such thing as a mentorship program that exploits you. You only exploit yourself by having the lack of knowledge on what the hell you're looking for to begin with. So your people's arrogance or people's need for instant gratification is the reason they end up in the worst opportunities or never getting anything out of opportunities. If you do your research and you see that the person you are seeking help from, you're not blindly following. You understand what the area of expertise is. You understand what they're successful at, what they're not at. And if they can or can't help you, then that's how you identify if you want to be part of a program or not. You know what I mean? So, listen, if Tai Lopez, the cartoon character of the year or so, I call him, has a program where he's going to teach you something, fine, some people will learn something for it. It's not exploiting you because he's asking you to buy a program. What happens, though, is that, there is no real area of expertise other than marketing, but he doesn't teach marketing in his program because he doesn't want to expose himself. So as a result of it, what he ends up doing is teaching you a bunch of other stuff that's irrelevant. You're the clown if you didn't do your research and you followed blindly just because you saw a couple of cars and you got excited because the guy seemed like he had money. There's plenty of people who have a lot of money. That doesn't mean they're the right person to teach you or help you be successful in life. Let's see. Do you have to be the owner of a business, or can you just be an employee trying to build a client base? Well, the coaching, my friend, primarily, you can still fill out the application. But in most places, I said this, I want people that are going to be working on something. So if you're just looking for sales mentorship specifically, I recommend getting into the Sales 101 course that's available on the courses in the Academy membership. That may be more useful. And then perhaps you need more of a temporary coaching kind of strategy on a one-on-one basis, more than you need this program. This is an ongoing program. And usually we want people that are going to be in a business that is going to be continuous. So this is what we're looking for in the application. So in other words, if you're like, hey, I just need a month of coaching and this is a cheaper alternative, you're not going to really get what it is that you want out of this program. But if you're someone who needs an ongoing support network, then this is going to be a better program for you. So we recommend that you have something that you're working on from a longer standpoint rather than just a particular gap in what you're doing. Martin says, what are you including in the swag bag? Well, there's stuff. We have a lot of apparel for Secrets, such as like mugs, license plate frames, T-shirts, a bunch of different things that are relevant. I think we're going to be creating different swag bags for different people. But in general, just giving you stuff and special pins to mark that you're part of this program to help ultimately have you share with others outside of the program that you're part of it. The other thing too that wasn't mentioned earlier, when we have meetups, outside of the academy, like meaning offline meetups, not online. When we have meetups, right now we're not allowing people to bring guests unless they're members. Meaning if they're members of Secret Entourage Academy, they can come, and if someone is not a member, they have to register as a member before they can come to the event. For the Secret Entourage Academy Black program, we're going to allow you guys to bring guests to events if you want to introduce them to Secret Entourage, because we understand you have better judgment, and we understand that you want to expose other people to this organization. But, we purposefully don't grow Secret to any level possible at any given time because we don't want a lot of cartoon characters joining us and people with bad character, especially not in the offline venues. When we've ever had an offline meeting, offline seminar, meetup, or whatever it was, it's always been very high quality people. And that's something that I pride myself with, that I think we've attracted the right type of people. And I would like to retain that as we continue to grow Secret, rather than just have a lot of members that pay that minuscule entry fee we have, and as a result of it, just our cartoons or try to feed off of selling people shit. And that's why we kick them out of the group fairly quickly. But for those of you that, like, look, for the Secret Entourage, the regular program, like the regular academy, we don't allow people to advertise their business, like meaning like try to get clients. But if you're in the Black program and you're offering a service to help other Black members, then that's going to be something that we obviously are okay with because we vetted your business and we understand your character. So this is yet another opportunity for you to ultimately share what you're doing with other people. Let's see. So Akash asks, I've gotten 2 contrasting pieces of advice from different mentors. How would I distinguish? Well, Akash, I think it's simple. Again, like what I said earlier, mentorship is not about giving you direction. It's about giving you perspective. By understanding different perspectives, you're able to make better decisions. And as a result of it, just understand the background as to why people think the way they do or what they're doing. I highly recommend that you don't follow either one just on the basis of where it came from, but rather understand why it was given. As a result of it, that could ultimately help you. But then once you make a decision, just understand that someone had a different opinion. I mean, there is 10 different ways to get to the same outcome. Some people have given me advice about what I should be doing with Secret 5 years ago, and I chose not to follow it. Doesn't mean that just because someone who had had a lot of success with online marketing told me what they did to have success, and as a result, I should exactly follow what they said. No, they've offered me valuable advice and perspective on what they've done that's been successful, and I've assessed it based on their experience, who they are, their market at the time, and so on and so forth. And I've either considered it to be applicable or not to what I'm doing at this moment. And so it's changed, So it doesn't mean that there's a right or wrong. I've now reached a level of success above and beyond the one they had. And as a result of it, can give them advice on what to do. But even then, it isn't for them to just choose to accept it. Let's see. Sean says, can you apply if you're trying to build a business partnership between 2 companies? You can always apply as long as you own a company. I mean, I think to be part of this program comes down to your application. Based on your application, we'll determine if you are indeed the right candidate for this, and we can indeed have a conversation. So that's too generic of a question to answer. Zubin says, hey, PJ, I've built an e-commerce website and other applications involved in mobile food ordering, such as that of Starbucks. Does it make sense for me to join the Black program? I don't have sales, but I have a product. You can see its application in retail, especially restaurants leveraging this. Yeah, remember, sales is not the specific measure for if you're going into the program or not. Sales is part of the growth process. So the point is, do you own the company? Do you own the product? Are you doing something? And I think that's the important part. Alberto, if I don't live in the US, can I still apply for the Black membership? Absolutely, Alberto. I mean, the Black membership is not limited to US people only. It is mainly online. I mean, it has some benefits offline, but for the most part, it is online. And so you will have full access to all the same things, regardless if you're in the US or not. Trishan says, how long have you had mentors for? That's a very good question. I've had mentors since I was 2 years old, my friend. I mean, I've always had a great mom that's always helped me. It's been a role model for me. I've always had or found mentors into different industries without even seeking mentorship. Meaning, when I was in banking and I didn't know what I was doing in a company, I watched some of the best people in the industry, in their particular banks, do their job. As a result of that, I mimicked some of these behaviors and activities. And my mentorship started with these people by just asking questions like, can you explain why you did this? Or I saw you do that. Is there a purpose you did it this way instead of that way? Very specific questions that helped me determine and understand why they were successful what they did. Furthermore, as I got into business, I watched other people the same way be successful. And again, engaging in a good conversation led to kind of that ability to kind of ask further questions. And sometimes, as I became more and more successful and I had a lot of leverage in one industry, I've reached out to people who are more successful in another to do some, collabs or partnerships in something completely irrelevant. But at the same time, offered my capacity and services and value in my other industry as helping them. Like a lot of people don't know, but a lot of influencers on social media get a lot of their cars, get a lot of their watches, get a lot of their luxury lifestyle from one of my 2 companies. And so, as a result of that, it creates a lot of good opportunity or ground for conversation. And if they're having success, let's say in the restaurant business or in the supplement business and I have an idea to be in that space, well, now I have a network of people to use and to leverage, right? So I've always had mentors since I was very young, not because I've sat down and asked for someone to come have coffee with me and mentor me, but because I've always paid attention to my environment. Let's see. So it's cool to apply if we're still in the development phase, right? One of our questions, can we offer the other members of Black? What can someone who's still developing offer to other people in the group who are already running their business? Well, remember, the point of the group is not to offer each other stuff. The point of the group is to help you grow your business. If you're not in a place to giving to others in the group, that's okay. The point is not to bring 100 people who all have maximum capacity. I have my own inner circle for that, and that's completely different from what this is. The point of this group is to help one another, and sometimes you have to understand that the value of help is not always realized or given back in a similar or exactly same fashion. Meaning, if you're successful and you want to help others, well, that person who's being helped may not be in a position to help others yet, but as they get successful, they're also going to help others. So I think the point of the program is to grow your business first. Secondly, if you have any tools, feedback, or process you can help others, even your opinion is a tool, and your feedback is a tool. So I wouldn't cut yourself that short. Alberto says, if I don't live in the US, can I still apply for Black membership? We already answered that question. Yes, you can. Payment is not an issue for me as I pay attention to your credit building strategies. I ideally seek networking and pointers and directions to take in engaging the market. Yes, Ruben, that's exactly what that's for. So make sure you fill out an application and we make sure that we are ultimately in the program, so that if you can get in the program based on what your business is, then we can certainly help you with that. Let's see. Charles says, do you have an idea of how often the meetups will be? Well, meetups, they're not specific to the Black program. Our meetups are 5 to 8 times a year currently for the Secret Entourage Academy. We will at some point in the future, this is not starting yet, but the Secret Entourage Black program, meaning people who are in this program, if we have a meetup, we'll be given an opportunity to spend one-on-one time with some of the guests that show up at these meetups. So if you wanted, let's say we're having a meetup and Andy Frizella or 2 other people are there at the meetup. If you're part of this Black program, we're going to get them together for a private Q&A or private mastermind session, just for good networking, for good introductions, and a good place to start. If the meetups are not happening for the Academy, there's no separate meetup for the Black program. And if a guest is not already coming, we are not, I'm just being honest, we're not flying in extra guests for the Black program. Remember, we're trying to limit the cost of these programs to something affordable for people. So the coaching and the way we have to approach this has to be passive enough so that it doesn't become a clusterfuck burden kind of program that we can't honor what we're trying to do with. And so bear with us, just like the Secret Entourage Academy, as we twerk out the kinks, but because it's limited to 100 people, we would like to open it gradually this way so that applications can flow in, we can determine who's there. And yes, if there's less people in the program up front, it's obviously going to be not as many people engaging each other, but I'm still in that program every day, regardless that other people are not either. So look at the better opportunity is that if you are in that program, and let's say there's only 5 of you by tomorrow morning, 10 of you, 15 of you, well, that means you're going to get a lot more of my attention than if there was 100 of you, right? Because even though I could answer questions, I'm going to take more time to go back and forth with a lot of you in the program. So the earlier you get in, while you're dealing with some of these quirks, you are also getting a lot more attention than someone who comes in when they're at the slot 90. So let's see. The other question here is, again, if you have any questions, guys, put them in. If not, then we're gonna call this call this quits in a little bit. But the next question is it 100 of the same people permanently? Will future slots open up? That's a very good question. And I don't know who that is, but that's a very funny, weird face. So anyways, it is 100 of whoever is in the program. If you drop out of the program, you can't get back in the program. So in other words, if you're in the program and you're out of the program, you ain't coming back in. Like, this isn't one of those we're in, we're out. If your business is growing and you're making revenue and you think $1,900 a month is expensive for coaching, I get it. But if you think $1,000 a year is expensive, you don't need a coach. Like, period. You need to figure things out on your own and you're good. So, for the low cost we have, once you're in the program, you're staying in the program. You leave the program, you ain't coming back in. That's step one. Secondly, if someone leaves the program, it opens a slot. Thirdly, we're not in a rush to fill this program, meaning my job isn't to sell 100 memberships as fast as possible. It is to allow one more place of leverage for you guys to come in and get the help you need. If you don't use it, that's fine by me. It gives me less work. If you use it, trust me, that extra $99 a month is not going to help or break our revenue at Secret and take us to the next level, especially if we limit it to 100 people. So it doesn't do anything for us monetarily. It just allows me to help more of you so we have more success stories to talk about on an ongoing basis, more people that I know on a face-to-face basis. And I know a lot of you based on names that I see in this, webinar. It's the same names I've seen before. So I know many of you are hungry, many of you are doing what it is, and sometimes you get stuck. This is the best, most inexpensive, passive way to get unstuck. So we figured this out. Now, later, maybe we fill 30 slots and maybe we raise the price. But if you're already in, you're not getting a raised price. So again, as we figure this out, we may get to a place where we say, listen, we're getting too many applications. We need to raise the price to $500 a month. If we do that, then that's up to us. But if you're already in the program, we're not going to raise the price on you if we've already accepted you in the program. So it's very, very important for you to realize that. And then the other part to it, if people leave the group once we reach 100, it will open new slots. If the group is very active and once we get to 100, we realize we can manage more people into that group, we may add like 10 more slots or 20 more slots. But I don't think, I've done the math in a lot of different ways, but for me to give this core group enough attention, I think that 100 people is still a lot, even for me, but I figured I can do my best. If we need to, we'll lower it down to people who are not actively participating and dump them out of the program. I think that the main key here to the program is just to provide you support. And if I can do that to 100 people, more power to me. If I can do that for 120, then more power to me. But I think that's about as much as I can do. So Ben says, hey, PJ, thank you for the valuable info. As always, compared to the challenge group, which is very active, will you and other senior members be more involved when it comes to mentoring and coaching people that are already growing a business? Yes. So just like you saw that the challenge group is more active and that I actually answer questions there, we are going to ask more people to have automatic access to this Slack group to be able to answer questions, especially if they've been featured in the Academy. Now, I cannot control other people's actions or other people's commitments to answering 10 questions a day, etc. What I can tell you is that if you need help in this group, you're going to have a lot more attention in me helping you get the answers you seek. If you need me to introduce you to someone, this isn't a group that you just join so you can be like, hey, I need the phone number to this guy and this guy. But if I feel there's value in introducing you to someone in my network, this is the group you're going to get that introduction in. Let's see. Zoom. Is it possible to make the forums more engaging? A lot of members make posts. Okay, so that's actually a really good question. The forum is getting replaced soon. I'm working on a new social network kind of application / website that is going to tie Secret Entourage's much, much bigger kind of overall vision of what we're trying to create in the entrepreneur world and allow people to network and connect in a much better way than outdated forums and Facebook groups. You're going to have a cool social media platform that, not social media like that. I don't want to, this isn't replacing Facebook. This is something that is going to integrate. Imagine if LinkedIn integrated with Facebook, except that your LinkedIn profile was your Secret Entourage profile. Look at it that way. And more importantly, the best part about the new social network is it will allow you to connect by searching each other on the basis of skill, interest level, industry, and so on and so forth. So it's going to definitely help connect more people to each other, which I think is where it gets really, really useful. And so hopefully that's answered all your questions, guys. I don't see any more questions, so if you have any, put them in now. But otherwise, I think you kind of understand the program and what it is. And again, you can go to it at secretentourage.com/academy/black. And then as a result of it, fill out an application. You will be asked for a $199 application fee that is refundable if you're not accepted in the program. Once you fill out your application, you do not need to email us. Is there an update to my application? Did you guys receive it? If you fill it out and you get it submitted, you're done. We will contact you as soon as it's ready, as soon as we've reviewed it. If it's an extra day late, you don't need to email us. We'll contact you. If it's more than 5 days, I will personally contact you and tell you why it's taking longer. Otherwise, you're fine. If you're not accepted, you'll be refunded. If you're accepted, you'll be in it, and then we'll let the games begin, and we'll let you become the next success story, like many of the people we talked about. And so hopefully you guys learned something tonight, and hopefully we'll get some of the same names that I keep seeing on these webinars that I know are committed to learning into this group. And I'm excited to hear, and see all of your applications, guys. So I bid you guys good night and talk to you next time.